Welcome to my channel, everyone. In this video I am going to show you the process that I take for making a worm composting bin. Here I have a 5-gallon bucket. I'm going to make holes using a soldering iron. It has a pointy end, and all I'm going to do is just make holes all the way at the top for ventilation. Using a 5-gallon bucket to make the your worm compost bin is simple. What we do is just make holes on the side, make holes on the cap. Right here we using the top right here to make the holes. We also make holes in the bottom to drain the what is called the worm tea. The worm tea is very useful you can use it in your plants, you can use it in your vegetables. It's definitely worm tea is definitely very nutrient, because it's the moisture and the water that you put into the compost bin is just draining out the bottom, and it's going to catch on another one, and I'll show you in the video a little bit forward how the whole process works, and how the water from this bucket is going to drain to the other bucket on the bottom to catch the worm tea. So right here I'm just making holes on the top of the cap. So this lid here is not going to be completely sealed because we made holes on the side of the 5-gallon bucket. Here we're just going to make a whole bunch of holes on the lid to be able to get them to breathe, because they definitely need to breathe. So this is how the lid looks down. See all those holes on top? All I did was just I also made the holes on the side so they could breathe. Now I also made the holes in the bottom. The holes in the bottom right here are the ones that are going to be used to drain the water from them to the bottom. Now, so you take 2 buckets. So I have the blue bucket that I made the holes. I have all the holes, the bottom holes, and then I have another bucket. This is the bucket that's going to be catching the worm tea. And then that's the tea or the water that we're going to be using for your vegetables and flowers and plants. So this is how it's going to be. So we put the worms in the blue bucket, fill it with compost, and then we're going to feed it. And then the water and the moisture, this is what's going to happen once it gets filled with that. So the water is just going to go down like so, and then you're going to be able to catch the worm tea in the bottom and use it in your garden. So that's how it's going to be work. And then you are going to be able to use that, like I said, for your vegetables garden anywhere that you have plants or vegetables. And it's real great because you're basically using the worm casting or the worm poop to fertilize naturally, organically, your plants. All right, here we're going to get ready to start making everything in the bedding for the worms. What we do is just soak a sheet of newspaper. Make sure it's newspaper. It's not nothing with ink in it, or like glossy ink or anything like that. It has to be just regular newspaper. You soak it in water. You put it in the bottom of your bucket or bin that has the holes, and you place it in the bottom, and then you apply the compost or bedding on top of that. So once you have that, you're ready to go and move to the next step. Now, what we're going to do now, we're going to mix in the substrate. So we're going to have, it's a bunch of broken up papers. We're going to put it in there. Just put all the paper that we collected, and you could just get regular printed paper that you have, or any mistakes that you had, and you could just save that and use it. Worms, they love papers. They'll turn that paper and turn it into poop or casting. Now we're adding cocoa coir to the mixture, and then you just add a good amount, maybe I'll say 1.5 to 2 inches together, the cocoa coir with the paper. You add some water and you mix it in. You definitely have to have the worm. The earthworm, they love moisture. They don't like dry places. So make sure that you're adding water, and then that water, like I said, is what's going to be draining down your bucket or your bin with worm tea. But make sure that you're adding water, because they like to be in a moist environment. They don't like a dry environment. If it's too dry, they'll definitely try to leave and escape. I have that happen before, so I cannot say enough. Make sure that you have a nice and wet environment so they can live in. So right here, we're just mixing the paper together with the cocoa coir, making the bedding to go ahead and put our worm in there. We're just mixing everything nice and good. Make sure it has a good nice and wet. You don't want it to be completely soggy, but you want to be able to like squeeze it and be able to get water out of it. You know what I mean? You don't want to squeeze it and don't get any water. So that's how you want to make it. It's like you take it, squeeze it, you have drops coming out. So we're going to go ahead and add our cocoa coir with the papers in our bucket. All right, so once we have that, now we have crushed eggshells. You know, the eggshells that you get from your breakfast or anything that you do, just save it, let it dry, wash it, and then I just I just crush it, and I add it to my substrate or my mix. Just a good layer, not a lot, because this is going to give them calcium. They need calcium. You know, they are a living creature. They need to have everything the Mother Earth gives them in the wild. This right here is coffee ground. You know, you take your coffee every day. We drink coffee here every day. My wife and I, we drink coffee. So that's two of us drink coffee every day. So when you say that, we put it in there. This is a great additive to the compost bin, in the case of the worm bin. And then by you having the crushed eggshells, that helps them crush the coffee ground. You mix that in there, and you can add the coffee ground every other week. You don't want to put too much of that, but it helps to put it in. Once you have that there, we're ready to go. So remember, we just added the cocoa coir, paper, newspaper, eggshells, and coffee ground. We're not going to feed it today. So the worms that I'm using, I'll say roughly maybe like 500 that I catch in the wild. And I say in the wild, I went to different places and I tried catching a whole bunch of worms. I didn't buy it. You know, I'm in Florida, so I want to be able to use earthworms that are used to being in the Florida weather. This is what we have here. This is all Florida red wigglers. These are tiny red wigglers, definitely alive, and that's what we're going to be using to make our worm casting. We're just going to go ahead and add it. All of them there. Just dump the whole thing. And again, I did not purchase this worm, but you can purchase it. There's different places. If you Google regulars, you will find a few people that sell it. I think one of the most popular one is in Pennsylvania. I think it's Uncle Jim. I think it is. That's his name. But there's more people that sell it. Me, like I said, I'm in Florida. I just went out to the wild and started collecting a whole bunch of worms. So here it is. They're all there, nice and happy. If you notice, my layer is not that thick. We're not gonna do that yet. We're just gonna let them get used to it, get used to this environment, build good bacteria. Because if you add too many things at once and they don't like it, they will try to leave. So our bin is ready. We have our bottom bucket, our top bucket with all the holes, the lid, the bottom, everything's ready to go. We are not going to feed it. This is the first day that they're going to be here. You don't want to do that. So this is how the lid is going to be. So see how the lid, it doesn't close or it doesn't lock. We want to make sure that they're breathing right. So we have then cover on top and the bottom. It's all right. So this is day number 2. So we made the bin. We have our 5-gallon buckets. Today we are going to go ahead and add the compost. So what I'm using here is just a mixture of live litter, chicken manure, and different things that I use compost throughout the yard. I'm just gonna mix that all together, and then we're gonna put that in our warm mixture that we did yesterday. We did the Coca-Cola with the paper and everything else. So today we're gonna go ahead and add that. We're gonna add this right here, which is just compost. That's all we're gonna do. So now what we're gonna do is just gonna add a few cups of Coca-Cola to the compost, and you're just gonna mix it, put a bit of water in it, and add it to our warm bin, and add it to them so they could have more compost material, so they could, go potty. Because that's what we're looking for to achieve. It just get them to make us warm poop, so we could use it in our garden. Me personally, I'm going to be using it a lot in I have a lot of indoor plants, so I'm going to be using that for my indoor plants, just mixing it with soil. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, so 1 cup of worm casting with 1 cup of soil, and then you add it to the plants. So that's what we are trying to do here, because if you try to buy worm casting, it's very expensive. A $20 bag is going to run you right now between $45 and $50. And as you know, money is very difficult right now with everything that's going up. So here we have the mixture of our Coca-Cola with our compost. You just wet it, make sure everything's nice and wet, and then we're going to add it to the worm bin. All right, so before we add the compost mix, we're gonna feed our worms. We are feeding just regular kitchen scrap. I'm using just pieces of lettuce and spinach, and I'm just gonna add it in there, and then I'm gonna cover it with the compost mixture. So right here we are adding the rest of the compost mixture. We added lettuce, the spinach. I try to feed it at least probably every 3 days. You gotta give them enough time for them to finish what you give them, because if you don't, it'll start creating mold. You don't want mold in your bin, so just be careful with that. So I just hope that this helps. If you have any questions, if you have any concern, please drop a comment, and I'll definitely answer any questions that you have in regards to building your own worm composting bin or bucket. It definitely helps a lot. It gives you the opportunity to build a organic material to use in your garden and your plants. If you can, please, I will definitely highly be thankful if you could like, subscribe to the channel. It definitely will help create more content for you guys. And here we're just finishing up. Again, thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Have a great day.